Hey, good morning, everybody. Get inspired, Michiana. Yeah, right? This is TJ. I'm from TJ21. We're here at the TJ21 studio where we host the Get Inspired, Life Inspired series every week. But this week, given Mother's Day and everything, and we did have a cancellation.
Yep.
We had a last minute cancellation. We decided to flip the script a little bit, and I'm here, and she's there. This is different because you're used to being over here answering the questions or,
So today
or starting
I'm the
it.
guest.
So today you're the guest.
Instead of the host.
This will be exciting. So we're
Yay.
going to flip it up a little bit. So I guess we're going to kind of dive right in. First of all, if you're watching this now, please share this. Let everybody else see this story, especially because we're focusing on Mother's Day.
Yep.
It's all about our moms, and of course, happy Mother's Day to all of
Yes.
you out there, moms, grandmas, great grandmas, and so on. Expecting mothers too is for you too. So we just want to say happy Mother's Day to everybody before we get started, and like this page, share this, let everybody else be inspired by these awesome stories every week, and join us every Friday, 9:30 a.m. So Diane, I'm going to kind of just jump right in. What was life like before the dots, the dot moment?
So life ... inspired. So I wanted to talk about Mother's Day legacy, and I have my tissue in case I get choked up because I was blessed with an amazing mother and was just very, just really blessed. And I know a lot of women and men too out there, didn't necessarily have a great relationship with their mom, but I was blessed to have a mom who taught me how to pray. And she was, just trying not to get emotional, the most powerful prayer warrior I've ever met. And I just was really blessed to live under her, raising us and teaching us really just by example about praying. And I wanted to share some stories. I remember being in elementary school, and my dad was not closing his business, selling his business to somebody else, and he was going to go to seminary to study to be a pastor, and money was tight. And I remember them praying for money so much that when we moved away, the neighbors were like, okay, y'all can sell the house, but we get the mailbox, because we would get checks in the mail for like exact amounts of what bills they would have to pay. I mean, crazy answers to prayer that was really, really cool. Wow. So from a very young age, I remembered God answering our prayers. And so I remember even through like growing up years and praying about school. When we still lived in Dallas, there was a time that I'm going to tell you about in a minute with my brother and his job. But even after that one, we had gone to my dad was moving back to New Orleans, and we were praying about where I would live my senior year, because I still had a senior year and I had a great senior year planned for Dallas, Texas. And we were praying about who would let me live with them so that I could stay in Dallas and not have to move with my parents for my senior year. And like a week before I was supposed to start my senior year, my dad's like, I think you're supposed to come to New Orleans. And I was so peaceful, like, yeah, Dad, I know, I think I am too. Wow. And I had a great senior year in New Orleans that I wouldn't have expected. The one I wanted to tell you about my brother, I remember, and I wanted to say that sometimes God lets us be the answer to prayer, because I remember one time that my brother was working at a job, and he's a really brilliant computer guy. Oh, nice. And so he was working at a job, and something happened, and all of the stuff like deleted. This is, in the 80s, or even
Didn't
early
have backups
80s.
back
Yeah,
then like
and
we do
so,
today.
yeah, it was like 1980, 1981 maybe. And so, yeah, so all four of us went and worked at his office late into the night. I mean, I didn't know that much, so I'm just like data entry for him. But yeah, we worked as a family, so it was always about, God, we would pray for things, and God would answer prayer, and sometimes God would allow us to be the answer to prayer. So that was my life before the dots.
You know what? And that's, you talk about how your mom was such an inspiring prayer warrior for you. And of course, I didn't know your mother, but to know what you are today and the years I've known you, and you're such a strong prayer warrior. If you're late for something, that's what God wanted me to do. There's a reason for everything.
I don't like that.
But even just like, it's everything's in God's hands, and that's amazing. What was life like? What was the turning point? Like you were just saying right there with your brother, what was the turning point in all this kind of change?
So I felt like, for this story and talking about Mother's Day, the turning point would be me becoming a mother. So, I mean, all of us have numerous turning points and opportunities in our life. I tell my kids, if you want to know where you want to go at the end of your life, you picture yourself at your 80th birthday and all these people surrounding you, and how do you want to be remembered, and you put that down as your goal. But just like GPS does course correction when we turn off the mark,
Right.
there's lots of times in your life that you need a course correction or whatever. So there's lots of turning points. But for this story, when I became a mom and learning how to pray for my kids, and I had 3 amazing young ladies grow up in my home. I was very, very blessed. Leslie, I am really into names and their meanings, and Leslie was our bright, calm spirit, and she's really super organized and just detail-oriented, and graduated college with a 4.0 because that's just who she is. She's a T-crosser, I-dotter, that kind of thing. My Sissy's our middle one, and just amazing joy, the most joyful child I think I ever met. Just I remember her just
full of life.
Yeah, just playing and spinning and so much huge heart. I remember once that she saved a bug and let it go out the house. I would, if save a bug outside, great. Bugs in my house, it's dead. And no, so she would save that little bug and let it go. And our Billy is beautiful, bold protector, and she was
That fits her so well.
yeah, she's just very protective. Don't you let anything happen to anybody or whatever, and just bold and fun, and people that know her just love her. She's an amazing, gifted actress, and so that was a lot of fun to raise them. But I remember praying for them and for their maturity and their growth and stuff like that. I remember there was a time when my husband was going to go take a trip to Las Vegas, and I prayed for months because I wanted to go with him, and I wasn't sure if that was the right thing to do because he's going on a men's trip and a bunch of golfers and stuff like that. But I was, I'm this little holy person, and oh no, Vegas is this terrible place, and fine for him to go there, but not by himself because there's just so much yucky stuff in Vegas is how I felt like it. I'm sorry, Vegas, but anyway. But I remember praying about it or whatever, and so he goes on his trip, and I'm like, okay, God, you didn't let me go. I guess you didn't let me go. Kind of like you said, because of prayer, I get peace over things that didn't go my way.
Right.
That's really kind of what prayer does for me is gives me peace over what doesn't go the way I thought it should go. And so, okay, he went. Well, he gets over there, and he's laying in the swimming pool looking up at the Paris Hotel, and he's just like, this is so great. Why is Diane not here? I'm calling her up and inviting her to come. And so I'm like, what? So I call my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I need you to pray. Scott says I can come. We happen to have some free tickets or something like that we
points
had.
Probably.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I need you to pray that I can find places for the kids to go because 3 kids would be hard. I'm thinking I got to dole them
Somebody
out
to watch
one.
the kids,
yeah.
right? Yep.
And so, so she's like, calls me back while I'm trying to make arrangements or whatever, she calls me back and she's like, I'm going to be there in 8 hours. Literally, she was the answer to the
local.
prayer.
Oh my
No.
goodness.
She's in Alabama.
Oh my goodness.
And she gets in the car to drive up here. I guess it wasn't 8 hours. It was probably 11
still
hours,
a while,
whatever.
yeah.
So she's like, so I only had to make arrangements for the kids for that afternoon, and I could go and get on the plane. And so, just being the answer to prayer whenever possible. And, I remember also struggling with depression as I was growing up, and I remember one time praying about that, and just hard. Being a mom is really hard, and you women that are in the throes of the little kid stages right now, God bless you, and do not give up because it is so worth it. And there's a Bible verse, you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. I have amazing kids, but that doesn't mean I didn't have a hard time when they were little. But I remember one time ironing and just feeling so depressed and like, God, how can I be your light if we're supposed to be a city on a hill? Right. How can I be your light to my family if I'm depressed all the time? That just doesn't seem like your will or whatever. And I just felt this peace over me. I never have heard an audible voice by God, but there's been numerous times in my life that I've just had a thought that I knew was not mine, and I knew God was just talking to me, and he's like, you know what? What if this is something and there's something wrong with you? Or what if, what if you died? What if you got cancer and died or whatever? And I'm like, that couldn't be good. I need to raise these kids or whatever. He's like, no, I love them more than you do. I gave them to you because I love them. And, these 3 were supposed to be raised in my house. Your 7 were supposed to be yours, and he just fills me with peace. Even in depression, he filled me with peace about depression. And so even now there's stuff going on in our family life that is very, very hard. And
to do on your own.
Well, and just those that are closest to me know some personal struggles that my family's having, and there's times when I feel like it's so dark. We're just in a really dark tunnel sometimes. But, you know, I just feel totally safe. I just feel like we're in this roller coaster car. And even though I can't see the light ahead of me, I really can't hardly see the light behind me, I do feel like I know who's got us in the car, and he's not going to let us go. You know, when you're in a roller coaster, you're all strapped in. There's nothing going to happen.
Yep,
You're getting
you're
through
safe,
to the other
right.
side. And that's how I feel. And so that's the turning point,
Right.
what prayer does for me.
You know, you mentioned, Diane, about, you know, you're on this hill and you're supposed to be this beacon. How can you do that when you're depressed and everything? It's like you're on this hill, but the light is temporarily out. And of course, what I see today is this bright beacon, and not just what you're doing every week by in sharing these stories and getting people to come on and share their stories to get them inspired to spread this news, but you're a beacon to so many people in your life, not just your family, to myself, to my staff, to people that get to see what you're doing with your life. It's an incredible motivational thing. It's inspiring.
Well, cool.
Pun. So and that leads us to the big question: how are you living your life inspired today?
Well, I would definitely say, for me, it's all about my connection with, I taught my kids to have a quiet time. All the time they were growing up, I'm like, you know what? I'm personally going to let you down. Dad's going to let you down. Your sisters are going to let you down. When you grow up and get married, your spouse is going to let you down. Your friends are going to let you down at school. Not because they want to, but just because we're humans, you know, and you have certain expectations for the others in your life. And when they don't live up to your expectations, it's disappointing, and you're like, well, why wouldn't they be like that? Because they're human, and they're not Jesus. Neither are you, but neither are they. And so I go, and I told him, I'm like, you know what? You can always count on God. He's never going to let you down. So I run to my Bible, and I read my Bible. I try to read it every single day. I don't read it every single day, but I try to every single day. And I remember when they were little, feeling like, you know, so drained. And I know what the problem is. I need to go and have my quiet time. And when I would go and have quiet time, I would be filled up again and able to pour back out. And I remember feeling like, God, I was watering the plants one day, and I'm like, God, I feel like this watering can. I have to go get filled up by you, so that I can then go pour out on these that you've given me. And so if you're trying to pour out on your kids and pour out in the lives of your the others in your life, do go draw near to God and get filled up. You can't do it. We don't have the strength. Right. But I remember praying when I was watering with the watering can. I'm like, God, I don't want to be a watering can. I want to be a hose. I want to be plugged in permanently and hose. And then it was like, but a hose isn't long enough. I want to be a sprinkler system in the yard and be an
entire irrigation system.
I really, you know, and so that was my prayer. I wanted to, and I started praying that way. And the more I pray and the more I spend time in God's Word and pray and talk to Him and read His Word and hear Him, that's His love letter to us. Hear Him talk to me, the more I do feel more permanently connected instead of just having to run, go get filled up, and then go pour out and run, go. So anyway, that would be my advice. I have great apps. I was going to bring my phone and put it there. I really recommend some great apps for reading Bible studies. I use the YouVersion Bible Plan. We can probably put a link.
We can, yep.
To the YouVersion Bible app, and it's great. You do a little plan that you can read for 5 days or 40 days or whatever. There's ones for 365 days and stuff like that. And you
we'll
can
put that on there for sure. Kira can make a note to get that on.
Okay.
And get it on there so anybody wants to see this, they can
yeah,
download
it's
that.
just a great way to read the Bible and just really God is it. So.
That is awesome.
Anyway.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yep.
This is really different to have it this way, but I think people needed to hear it because you're always like,
Just for
tell
Mother's
us,
Day.
and especially for Mother's Day of all things. So if you want to learn more about this, you can just check out right here on the Facebook page. You go to inspiredhomes.com. You can check out all the videos we've been doing. But if you know somebody that would love to sit here on the couch and share their story, so they can inspire others, reach out. You can reach out to Diane. You can message right here and let us know so her team can reach out and schedule that.
Yeah, we want to tell your stories too. God's just all over the place.
You know,
It's a
and before we
privilege.
go, you brought up a good point about trusting into God, and man will fail you. It's just, it's in our nature. They don't try it, it's going to happen. I think about the strength of God, and I think about the strength that we're given. It's tattooed on my arm. My favorite Bible verse is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through God who gives me strength. And that is so powerful today. It just makes me think about that. This person and this person is not going to have that strength. They're not going to give me the strength. They're going to motivate me and inspire me, but only God is really going to give me that strong
Awesome.
push.
Thanks.
All right. For Diane Bennett, I'm TJ Jorgensen. You guys have a great Mother's Day weekend.
Happy Mother's Day. Bye. Thanks.
That was great. That was awesome. It was really cool to have you.